I like to think of these weekly calls as like ego therapy or something, like egoics anonymous. Maybe we come here to, just like an alcoholic comes to an AA meeting to say, hey, I have this problem. I'm addicted to alcohol. Give me the steps to transcend this addiction. That's essentially all we're doing here, right? Hey, I'm addicted to being a person. I need help. What can I do to transcend this limited belief and become the real infinite self that I am? So in that way, as a form of therapy, when you come on live, if you come on live, we have you present yourself as you really are in eternity, which is, I am the one expressing as Aaron or Selena or Stan or whatever your name is. But I wanted to add another tradition here. As of tonight, we're christening it. Just a little tweak, because I've noticed some things in past calls where I feel like sometimes I'm letting people get away too much with identifying with ego without calling it out like I should, as the facilitator. And I still every so often catch myself verbalizing these things, and that's okay. But it should be a sign to us that if we're speaking on behalf of an individual separate self with a problem or an issue at hand, then part of us at least must still be identified with it. And we can notice that by catching how we're speaking about it, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? Proverbs 5 something. So, we should come here to these meetings like people who wear costumes all day. And we come here and we take off the big costume hats and, the furry costumes, and we sit down and we talk about all of the characters' problems that we had today. As we're playing these characters, wearing these costumes of being a person, playing different roles in the world and whatnot. It's really nothing more than a costume that the self that we are, the eternal self, is putting on. So it's like, let's take off our helmets, sit down at the table and talk about what unique issues our character seems to be having, but let's never call them our issues, right? Let's not identify with the ego's problems, because the ego's problems aren't my problems, right? My real self, my Christ nature doesn't have a problem. So the new, let's call it tradition or guidelines for expressing an issue you're having is, let's always say the mind blank, or you could say ego blank. So you could say, so this past week, the mind has had a lot of stress, or the mind has been very angry, or ego has been very angry. Ego is very stressed over this issue happening in its life. There's a lot of anger happening in the mind this week. We can verbalize it that way so that we're remaining in the position of the one expressing as this egoic persona, right? That's what I want us to get in the habit of, because if we can build these habits now, then we should be able to start taking them into our real daily life. So, not like I want you to introduce yourself to every stranger as the one expressing as blank. You can still play the character, right, when you're out in the world, but internally, we should know who we are, and we should understand always that the problems that the very limited mind has with reality are not reality's problems, right? The mind, with its false sense, with its material sense, with its limited understanding, is perceiving illusions in the world and then calling them facts. So if I identify and say, I have a problem, I'm saying that ego's projections are facts for me, right? That's what we want to get out of the habit of doing. So I'll be a little more strict with you guys on that if I hear these things verbalized, just for the sake of us practicing, practicing our perfection, practicing oneness. That's what we're here to do. This is ultimately mind training, right? That we're all engaged in, because the spirit doesn't need to be trained. The body can't be trained because it's just a reflection of the mind. So it's really just mind training that we need, which is what A Course in Miracles says as well. And as the mind gets trained to see its true reality as eternal spirit, everything lines up in order. Everything makes sense. Everything just falls into place. So in this way, I wanted to begin tonight with a brief little meditation for us to really practice this oneness. Because I want us all to be demonstrating these truths in our life. I want us all to be walking in abundance, in wholeness, in innocence, and the knowledge of who we are. And so often in spirituality, we settle for just having the knowledge of truth, the knowledge of who we are, but not the clear demonstration of it. And that's really what separates the wheat from the chaff, right? Those who actually can live the truth, can demonstrate the truth in their life, versus those who can just tell you about it, but don't have the living example of it yet. Reality is here to be our mirror, right? So if I truly believe that source is infinite supply, then I should have that demonstrated in my life, right? I shouldn't have lack or scarcity in my life if I know that source is infinite abundance and omnipresent, which means source is always here now. There's no point in space or time where the source is not, and the source is, not has, but is infinite supply. So why should I put up with lack anymore? The source is perfect wholeness, perfect health, perfect vibrancy, perfect life, eternal life, without a shadow at all. And if the source is omnipresent in my life, then I should experience that perfect wholeness in my body. I should experience my perfect spiritual body. So if there is a sickness, illness, disease, discord of any kind happening in the body here, then I know it's just a false sense, a false belief that I'm separate from source, that source is not here. And that belief is projecting itself into the body, out picturing itself into the body. So how do we undo those wrong beliefs that we're projecting into life, into our body, into our experience? We have to know who we are, and we have to become a living conduit of that truth. And so for me, that's the practice of oneness. Very, very simple. Practicing oneness should be really our only true spiritual practice that we need to remember the truth in any situation of who we really are, and to close our eyes to the world of lack, the world of form and materiality, the world that seems to oppose the facts of our real self, and bask and bathe in the truth of oneness, in the truth of who God is in us here and now. And as we let the material sense drop away, we literally forget about it, forget about the disease, forget about the pain, forget about the lack, forget about the guilt, completely let it drop out, and instead connect to the truth of oneness, omnipresence, right? Is God lacking from my experience right now? If no, then there's no lack of supply in my experience. There's no lack of health. There's no lack of innocence or purity, right? That recognition we have internally is the practice of oneness. So we should build this like a muscle where we can close our eyes and connect to the divine and experience the peace of oneness, experience the omnipresence of God here and now, without lack, without limitation. We should stop settling for the mind's limited thinking. That's how Jesus demonstrated the kingdom. That's how any saint or sage demonstrates miracles, right? Is that they just walk in the awareness of God's omnipresence and perfection here and now. If God's the only thing here, if spirit is the only thing here, and there's no lack, there's no sickness, and there's no sin in the spirit, then I should not be experiencing any of that in my perception either. And if I am experiencing lack, sickness, or sin, then that means I have a false belief out picturing itself. And it's time to take responsibility for that false belief and correct it with the truth. That's ultimately what the 3 beliefs of ego does, right? The 3 beliefs, when we believe them, become the 3 false forms, right? The belief in lack becomes scarcity in my life. The belief in outcomes, attachment resistance, that becomes sickness in some way. And then the belief that I'm in control, I'm the doer, will make me feel like I'm a sinner in some way, and I'll feel guilty for my actions. So we can take back those beliefs by correcting them every moment we notice them at work. And how do we do that? Notice what the false appearance is, what belief is appearing right now, lack, outcomes, or control. Correct it, and then just go inwards. Connect to the peace and the truth of oneness until it overwhelms our senses, until we feel completely assured, restored, and imbued with that peace. And then we go about our day. This is the only practice we need because, these three false forms, lack, sickness, sin, they don't have any reality in back of them. They're supported only by the constant support of a wrong belief. Does that make sense? So if only truth has reality back of it, that means only abundance has truth. Only health and wholeness has truth behind it, has reality behind it. And only innocence and perfection has reality behind it. So if I know that, I simply have to bask in that awareness until I feel it true in my heart, until I feel the peace, until I become the peace that passes understanding. And then I've stopped giving that support to those false forms, whatever the false form is, whether I have a pain in my body, whether I have a seeming appearance of lack or scarcity in my life, or whether I feel ashamed, sinful for something. I know that it's not true because it doesn't exist in God. So I stop supporting it by forgetting about it, remembering what's true in awareness, not just as a thought, but connect to the awareness of spirit being all, filling all fullness of life here and now, and nothing but that life. Feel the peace of that. Let it overwhelm you. Bathe in it, marinate in it until you feel the presence of that peace. So let's practice that right now, and we'll practice it before every meeting, just so we get in the habit of building this muscle. This is what we should be doing in our meditations every day. Don't just, focus on the breath. Don't just focus on the practice, but once you get into a meditative state, once you've used the breath or the mantra or whatever the practice is to take you into silence, once you're in that silence, lift your awareness higher to the divine realm. Lift your awareness to heaven and bask in the perfection of what you really are. Connect with the divine and let it overwhelm you. That's what meditation is ultimately for, is to connect, yeah? So let's connect for a minute before we get into the questions tonight. And we do that just simply and easily by remembering that God, source, spirit, perfection, life, love, peace, is an omnipresent fact of my reality. Never is there a moment where God is not. Never is there even an atom in the universe that is devoid of the allness of spirit. Only in my awareness does spirit seem to come and go. Only because my mind is limited and can only see materially. What it cannot see with the physical eyes, it denies. And what it can see with the physical eyes, it gives supreme reality to. But truth would tell me that it is actually the inverse, that what I cannot see is the eternal. The things the physical eyes cannot see is the real and the actual, the unchanging, the infinite. And what the physical eyes can see is a temporary, transient illusion of the senses. Here 1 minute, gone the next. It cannot be relied upon. And so I turn away my attention, my longing, my interest from the world of form, from the illusion of Maya. And I rest only in the awareness of you. My Heavenly Father, my Divine Mother, my presence of perfect love. Truly, you are more wonderful. Truly, you are lovelier than I can ever imagine. Truly, you love me more than I can ever imagine. You are my source, my supply. You alone are my health and my wholeness. You alone are my innocence and my perfection. Of myself, of my personal sense, I can do nothing. And so I only pause in the silence to rest in you, knowing that your will has already been accomplished. Your kingdom has already been established of perfect abundance, wholeness, and innocence. Yours is the finished kingdom, and I walk in it gladly, with gratitude in my heart, with joy in my step. And so I take this moment to rest in your truth, in your oneness, in your peace, as you abide in me and I abide in you. Spirit, we thank you that in your presence, in your awareness, is the fullness of life, the totality of peace, and that in you every problem is resolved, every request already accomplished, anything we could ever desire already fulfilled. And so we thank you that we are walking in this knowledge and awareness more and more each day. We thank you that we are demonstrating it in our life, in our reality, and blessing those around us with these fruits of our oneness and our unity with you. Thank you that you go with us everywhere we are, and that you are never absent from our experience. We want to rest in you as the non-doers, as the peace that passes understanding, and simply allow your almighty power to accomplish everything on our behalf. Take a deep breath in, just sealing that intention in your heart. And a deep breath out. Opening your eyes when you're ready. So that's how we do it. That's how we do it. We just turn inwards and we just connect to what's already true. We're not asking, we're not even searching. We know God is here. And if the mind needs a few minutes to calm down from its turmoil, that's fine. But eventually, if we rest in that silence, God is silence. God is in that silence, and God will reveal itself to us. So we practice, and the practicing every day, literally every moment you have free, if you're at work or you're driving in your car, anywhere you are, that's the beauty of this practice, is you can connect to the truth of oneness and feel that peace and just bask in it and know, man, there's not a single thing in the universe that I can do that's not already done. There's not a single grain of sand out of place. There's nothing that hasn't already been accomplished. What an incredible peace that is to know that, right? Can you feel that peace? If you connected to that peace at all, type it in the chat. I'm curious, because that's the muscle we want to build, to go inwards and connect. And then as we connect, we're connecting every day with that oneness. It begins to saturate our awareness. It begins to permeate our life experience more. And then it starts to demonstrate itself, right? When supply is needed, supply appears. When health is needed, health appears. Anything discordant, anything outside of that awareness begins to drop out of our experience. Truly, I wouldn't say this if I'm not living it. We find the blessings, the fruits, the gifts of God are naturally abundant in us when we devote our heart to them, right? Just think about how much time we normally spend devoting our mind to lack and sickness and sin. How much time do we spend, if not judging ourselves, judging other people, judging the world, right? And that is, the ultimate truth that we need to find in this practice, is that we don't take what the senses are seeing to be the fact. Meaning, if we see someone we love with an illness or a sickness, we don't say, oh, look at that sick person. We say, oh, their mind is projecting the illusion of a sickness because they believe that they are separate from their source. And so the belief that they are separate from their source absolutely must create form on some level. It has to, because we are creators. We create with our very thinking. So every person in the world is agreeing with this collective illusion of sickness and disease, of sin, right? Blaming one another, pointing the fingers. You're guilty. No, you're guilty. When in fact, we're all innocent. We just lack the awareness of who we are as the Christ. I think we said this a few weeks ago when someone asked about the problems in the world. And I said, well, just ask yourself the question, could any of those, atrocities or evils committed upon others happen if those people were fully aware of their oneness with source? You almost laugh, right? You go, oh gosh, that'd be so impossible. Right. So can I see that even in the midst of the seeming sin or evil that they're committing? Can I see even in the midst of those atrocities? No, there's actually no sin happening there. There's just a lack of knowledge of truth. There's just a false sense projecting itself into reality. And it has no truth behind it, right? Which is why when I stop supporting it, when we stop supporting it, it has to disappear. And what is true and real and actual has to take its place, which is abundance, wholeness, and innocence. That's what the whole course is about, right? See your brother as innocent. See them as sinless, and you'll find that you're sinless. Because by offering freedom, you will be free. If you think that they're a sinner, you have to think the same of yourself. So the course is beseeching us to put reality back in order in our mind, because in reality, there are no sinners. There is no evil. There is no sickness. There is no lack. So the practice of oneness, every day, all day, practicing this is what will reveal that to us in our awareness. And truly, it becomes the most wonderful thing you can think about doing. And you can't wait to get a moment to yourself so you can just close your eyes and connect for 5-10 minutes and just bask in the truth of the already accomplished perfection of God's kingdom here and now.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope that you were truly blessed by it. And I wanted to let you know that I'm really excited to now be partnering with an amazing conscious supplement company called ORGANIFI. A lot of you know that I'm also passionate about holistic health and nutrition, and ORGANIFI has been a staple in my daily health routine for a very long time. They make the most delicious, organic, and high-quality superfood products that I've ever come across. And as you know, a healthy body is a great benefit for spiritual growth because the health of your body directly translates to the health of your mind. Everything is connected. So feeding your body with high vibrational superfoods straight from the earth is one of the best ways to create that environment for a healthy mind. But getting all the superfoods that your body needs in one day can admittedly be a little bit tough. And that is where ORGANIFI can add a ton of value to your life. I personally start every day off with green, which is ORGANIFI's really delicious blend of 11 superfoods like ashwagandha, chlorella, and moringa. And then in the middle of the day, I'll usually have a scoop of red, which is a delicious energy blend full of 13 adaptogens and antioxidants from berries to recharge your mind and body with a delicious blend of organic superfoods. Your body is an amazing organic machine, but it needs the right fuel and signals to function at its best. And red is full of adaptogens sourced from organic herbs and medicinal mushrooms. And these are compounds that balance hormones, prime your energy pathways, and alleviate stress. So instead of crushing your adrenal system with huge doses of caffeine every day, adaptogens work with your body and give you natural, sustained energy all throughout the day. What's most important to me though about ORGANIFI is the way that they go above and beyond to ensure the cleanest and purest ingredients in all of their products. They are USDA certified organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, certified glyphosate-free, and absolutely zero fillers. So I never go anywhere without ORGANIFI and I never miss a day without taking it. And ORGANIFI is offering a super generous discount of 20% off of your entire order when you use the coupon code Abke at checkout. So if you want to upgrade your health regimen with ORGANIFI, you can click on the link in the description box below to learn more about all the amazing products that they offer. And I promise you that your mind and your body are going to thank you for it.